question. So while reading books, there's often characters that you identify with or you feel like you're similar to. In this book, I felt that I was really similar to Rafaela, just because she is a very motherly character, and she is very determined when she makes a mistake to fix that, and that's seen on page 109 when they're in discussion about what territory they think is the most important, and she says, Taylor says, finally there's a prayer tree, which Rafaela believes should be on the top of the list. So it's Rafi's fault that they lost the prayer tree, and she's very determined to get it back, and that's kind of similar to me when I make a mistake. I really just want to fix it the best way I can. So right now in your small groups, find a passage that kind of describes you and like talk about which characters you feel like you're the most similar to, and just use a passage to kind of like justify that.
That was in the beginning.
I was confused who they were at the beginning. So
the whole time. Oh, on page like 146, she's like killing herself. I'm taking pills.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah, I do remember this now.
I also felt like because the kids, like the 80s kids, were such a story, like because it was like written as Hannah's story, like it was so nostalgic and like you couldn't really like connect with those kids because they're so just distant.
In the book, you know how Jonah was with Taylor and she hates him because she thought he like told on her running away. Does he know that she thinks that like she hates him because of that? Even though it was like actually for a good reason.
I think he knows it's
I don't know. Well,
they never really.
he was like, you never responded to my letters or my calls, so I mean, he probably thought she was like kind of upset that he called. Just for that. They didn't really talk until they met up again years later, so. Do you relate to Jonah? I relate to Jonah. I was gonna say it'd be easy to relate to Jonah in the way that he like made that call and saved her, even though, and like took the fall, and she like hated him for a while, but it like saved them.
I don't think everyone could relate to Jonah. It could be that you have a guardian personality when you watch out for people. Not everyone does. Remember, he saved his mother's life too. That's
Oh, yeah.
He's always intervening.
Okay. Let's start with this group. Can we have a volunteer to share what character they feel like they're most similar to?
Yeah, I will share. I chose Taylor, especially on page 41. It talks about how she doesn't like the cat and how the cat doesn't like her. Not saying that I don't like cats, but I think as a young kid, I didn't really like a lot of stuff either. I guess I wasn't vulnerable until I grew a little bit older, just like Taylor. But then as I progressively matured, I started opening up to people, and I guess I saw different perspectives about cats too. So yeah.
About the group in the back.
I identified with Taylor also. Like her whole growth is something I experienced in high school, and I really liked how she verbalized the avoiding of people and making a huge effort not to care about them and not relate to them at the beginning of the book. I thought that was pretty true.
I don't have a particular passage, but in the instance where like Jonah and Taylor ran away, and to Taylor's knowledge, like Jonah like told on them so that they would get caught. In that sense, I thought that I related to Jonah because even though like Taylor kind of hated him for a while because of it, he like did the right thing. And obviously, when she finds out the real story, it was like the better thing to do.
This group?
We kind of talked about how it was a little bit hard to relate to some of the characters entirely because they're so distinct and like have like so much about them is built up in their history, and none of us could really relate to any of their entire story. But there are like little bits and pieces that we could relate to. So like I said, probably the closest person for me was Jonah, and just because he's kind of deliberate about things and really takes responsibility for things when he absolutely has to. And I just felt like those are kind of things that I can relate to.
And the last group?
I related to Taylor on page 193. She's working with her other like first and second in commands, and she's really stressed out and on edge. And she just states, "I'm going to Hannah's house," and everyone else is kind of like, "Taylor, it's not the time. You can't like leave right now in the middle of the territory wars." And I relate to that because I feel like when I start to get stressed out, my initial reaction is just to like walk away. So not Taylor in her entirety, kind of like I agree with this group's claim, but that was a little snippet.
So for our third activity, we're gonna have you guys form a circle.